Hi, welcome back to Focal Point AAFR Talk. Bryan Fischer is my name, talking about the fact that the Senate voted 68-31 this morning to allow anti-Second Amendment legislation to move forward. 16 Republicans gave this thing life. This thing would be dead. DOA, gone, stick a fork in it, it's out of here. If these 16 Republicans had voted for the Constitution and for the Second Amendment. Now, we don't even know what's in this bill because nobody's seen it. Nobody's seen the legislation on the gun background checks, but there are plenty of reasons to be concerned about what's in there, and nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows even what's in there. And what we do know is there's some kind of agreement on universal background checks between Joe Manchin, the guy that put a bullet through Obamacare, and Pat Toomey, who had an A rating with the NRA. He's totally sold out. And Toomey said, look, I don't consider criminal background checks gun control. He says it's not a part of gun control, criminal background checks. But gun law expert David Koppel warns that this legislation, this agreement, and this bill, quote, would turn almost every gun owner into a felon. Because remember, if somebody steals your gun or you loan it to somebody, it doesn't come back in a certain amount of time, if you don't report that you lost a gun or had it stolen, if you don't report that yourself to Eric Holder, you could go to prison for 5 years. This is a law that prohibits loaning your gun to somebody else, even to your wife, on a shooting range. You go shooting, you got a gun, you want to loan it to your wife to squeeze off a few rounds, you can't do it. You would be breaking the law. You would become a felon if you loaned your gun to a member of your family at a shooting range. And remember, there's a tax in this deal. Obama says, hey, we got to find a way to pay for all these extra background checks, so we're going to impose a tax on guns that's going to go into this kitty so we can pay for all these background checks that we're going to be responsible for. So just a horrible, very bad, no good bill. Now, I think there's still a chance that we can stop this thing when it goes to the Senate. It's still going to need 60 votes again. Once they have the debate on the Senate floor, they're still going to need 60 votes to close debate on the actual bill and then and on the amendments that could be offered. And so there's still a chance to kill this thing there. There are a lot of Democrats who are from conservative states. And they've got re-election campaigns coming up in 2014, and they have indicated that they're not going to vote for the final version of this bill. So there's still a chance to shortstop this thing. We'll take calls on what you think about this gun control legislation, what you think about these 16 Republicans who have sold us out, sold us down the river. This is just betrayal of the Second Amendment. What you think about all of that, 888-589-8840. Just to show you how idiotic things have gotten, here is a guy who had his guns confiscated and his concealed carry permit revoked because his son threatened to shoot a bully with a water pistol. 10-year-old son says, hey, this guy's bullying me. He's bullying my friends. I think I'm going to take my water pistol and hose him off. And that comment that he was going to shoot a water pistol at somebody got reported to the police. The police show up. They confiscate his guns, and the state of New York revoked his concealed carry permit. His son was suspended for 2 days from school, and this guy, the father, says, when am I going to get my license back? And he says, when your son turns 18 and moves out of the house. So he's lost his weapons and his concealed carry permit for 8 long years. Now, one other thing that I think is important to understand about this Toomey Manchin proposal that nobody's seen, so it's just all what people are being told, word of mouth. Here's a piece from patriotupdate.com. I just talked to someone familiar with the Toomey Manchin proposal who raises a serious concern based on his understanding of the legislation. The proposal, listen to this, will allow a doctor to add a patient to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System without ever telling the patient that he's been added. So a doctor can say, look, I think this guy's a danger to society. I'm going to report him. I'm going to put his name on the National Instant Criminal Background Check. This is a doctor doing this. So you go to buy a gun, your name pops up on the NICS. You have no idea how it got there. You have no idea why. You have no idea who put it there. Could be your doctor, keep you from getting a gun. And that's in this bill that 16 Republicans just voted for today. So you think about this. Once this gets out, there could be people that could be helped, that would need help, and they're not going to go to a doctor because they don't want to get put on this list. And what can happen, this is from the state of New York. The New York State Police right now, as we speak, this is not theoretical, they are suspending the handgun permits of people in the state who have been prescribed anti-anxiety medication. So you have a problem with anxiety, you go to the doctor, says, look, this will help kind of settle you out. And so you fill the prescription. This information gets to the New York State Police, and they revoke your handgun permit. Now, there's a thing called the HIPAA law, HIPPA. It's a Patient Protection, Privacy Protection Act, which means that your medical information is supposed to be nobody's business but you and your doctor. Nobody else is supposed to know about this. I mean, that's a problem even in for employers. With health insurance, they cannot, the employer who is paying for the employee health insurance cannot find out anything about how his employees are using the health insurance. Nothing. They can't know, even though they're paying for it because of this HIPAA thing. But here, somehow or another, it gets into the hands of the New York State Police, and they are out there confiscating firearms. State of Missouri, again, to show you what can happen, the state of Missouri, the Missouri Highway Department, shared its confidential concealed carry weapon permit files with the federal government, not once but twice. And this is a violation of state law. The state law in Missouri says you can't do this. This concealed carry weapons permit information, this is private information. It is not to be shared with the federal government, but they've done it not once but twice. Just recently did it in January. 185,000 names now are in the hands of the federal government. So they want to start a gun confiscation program. They know right where to start because the state of Missouri has given them 185,000 names. So once again, that's what's going on with the Second Amendment. We'll take your phone calls. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. Let's see. Do we have a call we can grab? Let's go to Jerry in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Jerry, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, love your show.
Thank you, sir.
I knew that they were going to be voting on this, so I called Senator Byrd's office this morning and let them know what I felt and told him that he'd do all he could against it. And they said, oh, he's definitely against this bill. And then I heard you say that he was one of the cowards that ended up voting to allow it to be debated. And I called back, and they said, he didn't want people to think of the Republican Party as the party of no. And he figured that since this is going to be around for a long time, that they need to go ahead and debate it, and then he can vote against it. And I said, well, if the Republicans and everybody else would worry more about what we think and rather than what the media thinks about them and reports, calling them names and things like that, they'd be a whole lot better off.
Well, it's interesting, Jerry, because I've been curious as to what these legislators are going to say, because you've got a lot of these people in very pro-Second Amendment parts of the country. Lamar Alexander is in Tennessee. You got Richard Burr. He's in North Carolina, and he's trying to justify his vote. And the question I got to ask, Jerry, so his office is telling you he doesn't like this bill. He's going to vote against it when he gets a chance. Well, why not vote against it now? I mean, what?
Yeah, that's my point, too.
Why are you even giving this thing oxygen? So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Me either.
All right, Jerry, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you for that. If anybody else calls your senator, I would love to have you call in and report what your senator's office told you about why they voted to move this bill forward. You got Lamar Alexander, Kelly Ayotte, Richard Burr, Saxby Chambliss, Tom Coburn, Susan Collins, Bob Corker, Jeff Flake, Lindsey Graham, Heller from Nevada, Hoeven from somewhere, Isaacson from Georgia, Kirk from Illinois, McCain from Arizona, Toomey, Pennsylvania, Wicker from Mississippi. You call their offices and complain about their vote on this thing. I would love to know what they tell you. Let's go to April in Lenoir, North Carolina. April, welcome. What's on your mind?
Oh, I can't even tell you how hot I am right now. And it ain't the weather. I called Richard Burr's office this morning and specifically asked them not to vote, for him not to vote for that bill. They gave me the impression that he would not, and now I'm hearing that he is. I will be calling his office when I get home.
All right, good. Well, you know, and I appreciate that, April, and I encourage you to do it because I think these folks need to hear from us. I
want some way to figure out how to let all of North Carolina know that he is a turncoat rhino and that he is not supporting what North Carolina believes in.
Yeah, well, I can't believe that most people in North Carolina are going to be happy with this bill and happy with one of their elected representatives even making it possible for this thing to go forward. All right, April, listen, I appreciate your call. You know, and I'm sensing both from the last two callers, you know, a lot of people are, you know, they're pretty torqued over this, and I think with good reason because this is our Constitution that these folks are putting at risk. If you want to weigh in on this whole Second Amendment issue, give us a call, 888-589-8840. Number to call. We'll take some more calls on the other side of the break. And so, again, this is just a bizarre thing to me because people don't even know what's in this bill. You know, and Mike Lee and the Republicans are saying, hey, trust us on this. You haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. We don't even know what's in it. But we want this legislation to go forward so we can find out what's in it. Let's vote for it so we can find out what Joe Manchin and Pat Toomey have cooked up on this deal. So that is kind of where we are sitting with the Second Amendment. 888-589-8840. Here's a kind of a throwaway story from France. The president of France got a camel as a gift from a West African family, and they apparently misunderstood what was going on, and they ate the camel. They ate it. It was a gift for the president of France, and they ate it. So now authorities in Mali are saying they are going to send a replacement camel to France for safekeeping. What do you do with a camel? Somebody sends you a camel. What do you do with it?
From the